Hello guys, I am back and along with me I bring a topic that you should find pretty interesting. I have never discussed this with anyone in depth, but I have made mentions of it. So let's see what we come up with. This is going to be called Acknowledging Pets Before Humans. Alright, so when I am driving, I only look at windows of other cars if I notice a furry passenger and I want to pet them so bad. Like if I pull up to a red light and next to me, immediately next to me, there is a puppy or huskies, which completely make me melt. I just want to stretch as far as I can and just pet them, because just how can you avoid that? How can you not feel drawn to them? You know, they're so cute and wonderful, and they make great companions, and they make better siblings than people sometimes. Also, when I'm walking on a sidewalk and someone is walking their dog and they try to yield to me or contain their friendly pet, because you know how there's always that one dog that is immediately like sniffing you and they just want to play with you, and then the owner says, you know, he's really friendly, so don't mind him, and they try to like pull him back, and I'm like, don't you worry, I do not have the blessing of having a dog with me, but I would love to. If only I lived in a place that I can support such a companion, I would. But for now, I'm just stuck with a cat that's pretty antisocial. And like, whatever. Let's keep going. At any rate, I'm always like, no, let them loose. Let them love on me. Because I don't get love done that often. So the sole fact that another living being who's not necessarily a member of my same species is demonstrating the most minimal or maximum amount of interest for me, I feel flattered. So let them loose. When I see them inside of stores, today particularly, I saw someone who had a puppy like in their little bag, carry bag, and I noticed that and I was like, oh, how old is he or she, and this and that, and immediately they were like, a year old and this and that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a beauty. So at any rate, I wish that for the most part the ones that I encounter inside a building are service dogs. And I know how useful and healthy they are, but I just wish that they didn't have to wear that vest that indicates that they are a service dog. And they specifically say, do not pet. Like they know people like me are out there and we're gonna try to pet this dog that's probably trained to devour you in the event that you represent a threat for whom they are servicing. So, God, it's like, you know, being forbidden to pet a dog. Just, how do you overcome that? Anyway, also, when I am walking at a parking lot and I notice them, I greet them. They might be barking at me. They're trying to say that I am a threat to their owner's property and all that. But I'm like, I'm trying to communicate with them too. And I'm like, I will never know what you're saying. I'll forever wish that I knew what you were saying. But just know that I am actively listening to you bark at me. And if I ever learn canine language, I shall come back and see you, and we will get to know each other, be friends, and I'll feed you your, dog dinner, and I'll have my human dinner, and you get the idea. But it's just funny because I just stand there and do whiny noises to sometimes like, It depends what kind of noise they're making. But it's like I am genuinely trying to chill them out, or to get along with them or get to know them. Like, I'll understand their barking. Also, if there is a person and they have their pet, I never look at the human. Like, I never make eye contact with the human. I'm always looking at the dog, who's like also staring at me. And I'm just, like, I want to be like, how you doing? What's your name? And it's funny because then the human goes like, oh, the name is, I don't know, Fido or whatever. And I'm like, if only they could introduce themselves. But the pets always have my full attention. It's just weird. Like, that should also let you know about the state of humans in general. It's like humans and humans, some of us, it's like human and human relationships can be like rough sometimes, but then human to pets, when are those ever messed up, unless you really do something big to annoy your cat or your dog. It's like those relationships are like marriages that are genuine. You just cannot ever divorce them. Or like your parents, you cannot really be like, oh, I'm deciding that because I don't get along with my father, I'm going to choose a new daddy, and legally and biologically we're going to, be cool and equal. It's weird how that happens. And it's even weirder to have the thought, but wouldn't that be awesome though? You have the choice of actually choosing who you want as a parent. That would be something. Also, I don't care what kind of shoe I'm wearing, and anyone who knows me knows that I can be a complete mess, like ankles upward or ankles and above, but my shoes have to be on point. When I see dogs, that rule goes to hell. It's like it was never there in the first place. So even what I dress, if it happens to be one of those rare and odd days in which I'm looking Gucci, or like smelling like I have Armani all over me, which, I have a few of his perfumes around. I am playing with your dog. Like, do not feel bad if I get my dress torn. Let them do it, because I will not get angry. Like, let me tell you a story about my car. And you should know by now that my car is like my relationship with it just knows no bounds, all right? Well, it was pretty much brand new, and I went to visit my godfather, and there was this Siberian Husky, my favorite breed, that was just loose. And I happened to be, walking to the car to load it because I was getting ready to go. And, I opened the door and suddenly this creature sprints at me, and I'm thinking, is that a wolf? Am I going to get mauled right here? And it turned out to be a Siberian Husky. And that was the first close encounter that I had with one of them. And I was like, hey, how are you? Where are you from? This and that. Your owners must be worried, or whatever. And he kept following me everywhere, just jumping and wanting for me to play with him. And I don't know what happened, but he jumped in such a way that his paws like scratched my car actually. And I really can't see the mark now, but I took a picture of it immediately, and it was pretty like deep, like a deep print and a scratch on it. Well, not really a deep scratch, but anyway, I was like, how am I not bothered by this? This is a new vehicle. I'm trying to take care of it, and it already has like this damage going on. But like, I remember it right now because I'm talking about it. But other than that, it's like, If you want to, you can take the car and drive it as long as I get to see your handsome face sticking out of the window as you roll downhill, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm so forgiving of pets. Also, if you got a white kitten who wants to sit on my lap while I'm wearing black, let him do it. It is fine. I don't care. If anything, I'm probably wishing to have a new color for my attire. Because it's not very cheap to try to change it. It's either you gotta buy a new one or you just gotta have money to decorate your current clothes or adjust them to the hue that you want for them to have. Or vice versa. If you have a black kitty and I am wearing white, just let him be all over me. I don't mind. I truly don't mind. Anyway, I always wonder if they're thirsty, hungry, or cold. Even if their owners are right there, it doesn't mean that they're getting the proper treatment, because the old place that I used to live at, there was this dog that was being walked in the winter at what felt like sub-zero Arctic temperatures. It was sub-zero because it was 20-something degrees Fahrenheit. And I looked at the paws and they were bleedy. And some areas of the ground were frozen. And that tore me up so much inside, because I'm like, there's nothing that I can do for you. I don't have anything that I can put over your paw. And not only that, I don't think that I would get the approval either. But I'm like, it's also like parents and their kids. How can you be wearing 20 layers and maybe a North Face jacket, and then your child is pretty much going out with their pajamas? What makes you think that they cannot perceive the cold? Quite the opposite. They are more sensitive to those changes in climate and all that. So if you feel cold, your kid feels cold and your pet feels cold. So let's be more responsible owners of these furry companions, all right? Because this is getting ridiculous. And their scratches and bites never bother me. They're just playing. You just gotta understand that that's how they play. Yeah, it's a painful type of play and display of affection, but they're just playing. The cat that I had prior to the one that I had now, he was declawed. I didn't choose that. That's the way that he was given to me. And still, he had his hind claws, and I felt like at any time he could murder me by getting one of my veins, but that didn't happen, fortunately. And gosh, I miss him. We had the best relationship ever. I guess I should share that. I will share that because he deserves a video of his own. And I have some clips around, so I'll gather them and throw a video. Anyways, but when it comes to pets, I'm always down for them to take my time. I am never in too much of a hurry to not acknowledge a pet. I am never too clean to not acknowledge a pet, etc. I will always have the time for them. And alright, you guys, that's about all that I have for you right now. What are your thoughts? Do you experience this type of mentality to where you're like, dang, I never knew how cool animals could be until I actually sat down with one of them and just spent some quality time with them? Because let's face it, sometimes you have more quality times with pets than humans. I know I do. So alrighty, I am going to let you go now and see you soon.